Hi everyone, and welcome to Jane Talks Murder, where I'll be talking about and reviewing an episode of Poirot, Murder, She Wrote, Diagnosis Murder, or Jonathan Creek. Today, I'm looking at Jonathan Creek, The Miracle in Crooked Lane. Or as I like to call it, that time Jonathan Creek time-travelled. We begin the episode in a woman's bedroom where she's bought breakfast by her carer/friend Vincent after she's had major surgery. He runs into Christine chilling outside a pub before Jacqui saunters by, a glamour model, who storms home upset that people are being dicks to her, like getting a rock thrown through her window.
Repent to the Lord, you harlot, or be damned for all eternity.
Yes, all right, Mrs. Gibson.
Maddie rattles on to Jonathan about the scandal surrounding Jacqui, so he doesn't want to have sex with her, especially not with her munching curly-whirlies in bed. And he discovers that Maddie is dragging him along to a convention to meet the Jonathan Creek fan club. Speaking of, Christine comes home to her partner Jeff, who is brushing up on his JC trivia. Jacqui complains to her hubby Rupert about everything before Christine drops off the post, and Jacqui heads to the potting shed, which promptly blows up. Unable to help, they call the emergency services, and a critically injured Jacqui is taken to hospital. The convention gets underway, and Jonathan has to listen to his fan club talk about the plot of the episode Jack in the Box, and he's very bored.
4 hours stuck in a wigwam with a bunch of sad-acts who know more about me than I do.
Jeff rushes up late, excited to meet Jonathan, and tells him that Jacqui, despite being extra crispy, was spotted last night perfectly healthy heading to church. And Jonathan agrees to investigate to get out of the convention. Christine is not impressed with Jonathan, thinking he's another wannabe, and Jeff explains that Jacqui was a homewrecker before settling down, with Christine saying that the explosion messed her up, but when she went to Vincent's to deliver the mail, Kathleen swore she'd had a conversation with a perfectly healthy Jacqui in the evening. They go to speak to her and she says Vincent woke her up and took her outside where a wasp stung Vincent, sending him back inside, and that's when Jacqui stopped by for a chat. She lectured her a bit before encouraging Jacqui to go to church where the clock clearly said 7:40. But that's impossible because Jacqui was in critical condition at that time and still is. Vincent says he doesn't get why Jacqui fell for Rupert and mentions that his own wife left him for a balloon animal artist. Kathleen says the only strange thing she noticed was the bottoms of Jacqui's trousers were damp, and she believes that God is testing her faith, but swears what happened was real. The four discuss the case, with Christine making eyes at Jonathan, and Jeff theorizing that the person in the hospital isn't Jacqui at all, and he's made a model to prove it. But Jonathan shoots down that idea because it makes no sense. And when Jonathan can't sleep that night, he has an epiphany. The next day, Maddie visits Rupert, who has a library full of lads' mags, and he admits he fell in love with Jacqui when he saw her in a magazine. But looks like that relationship, along with Jacqui's life, is over. Rupert insists Kathleen is either mistaken or lying when he gets the call about his wife, and Jeff jump-scares Jonathan, who again nixes his body swap notion. He proves a point by vanishing, which of course he doesn't really, and Rupert is devastated that Jacqui could have possibly taken her own life. Jonathan insists to Maddie that even though it's impossible, Kathleen has to be telling the truth, and feels like her honesty is a bit too convenient.
Oh, right. I think I'm beginning to not understand a blind word you're saying.
They spot Jeff at the stile, and Jonathan works it out, wanting to poke around Vincent's garden, where they find a long groove, and then they rush off to Scotland Yard, saying they know the murderer, but not the victim. But with an exact time the crime took place, they discover the victim's name, Anthony Feldman, who was shot with the contents of this box wrapped around his head. Maddie thinks it's empty, but Jonathan doesn't need to look, and Rupert goes to Vincent's as the police arrive. Jeff and Christine are caught snooping and brought inside, where Jonathan lays things out. Kathleen is such a believable witness that she was brought to the house to provide an unshakable alibi for someone planning a murder. Someone trying to hide in these curtains.
Shit.
Vincent went and shot the guy that ran off with his wife, wrapping a balloon animal around his head, which is why the box felt empty. And with Kathleen as his alibi, she couldn't have known it was actually the morning, not the evening, that she saw Jacqui, because Vincent rigged up lighting to throw off Kathleen's time of day because she was bedridden, making her 12 hours out, with the trees hiding the equipment. It was morning when Kathleen saw Jacqui, and Vincent drugged her afterwards to get it back on normal time. While he dismantled the equipment, the groove caused by the power cable, and Vincent apologises to Rupert for the pain he's caused and is arrested. Jeff is kicking himself that he didn't work it out, while Christine lusts over Jonathan, and that night, Maddie and Jonathan have sex for some reason, before Jonathan gets a call from Christine, who is bathing in porridge, and Jeff is furious. Okay, I watched Jonathan Creek as a kid, and I never once worked out any of the murders. I had theories, sometimes very wrong ones, but I never got the solution, and this one is no exception. You just wouldn't think of the answer, even though the clues are all there, because who would go to that much trouble to cover up a murder that you don't even know has been committed? And you certainly wouldn't jump to time travel as a possible solution. The whole Jacqui thing was a massive misdirect, and honestly, I'm not sure if her death was an accident or suicide, but either way, it was kind of sad. As Christine said, she didn't deserve what happened to her. It's a weird episode this, because so much of it was taken up with Jacqui's death, and for some reason whether or not Jonathan and Maddie are going to bang, and there are way more boobs in Jonathan Creek than I remember. And there's the whole side plot with the Jonathan Creek fan club, and for some reason a running theme of quicksand kinks, which is why Christine was bathing in porridge at the end, which I completely didn't understand as a kid. But despite all that, it's one of the top 5 best rated episodes, probably because not since Death on the Nile has a killer gone to so much elaborate trouble to commit murder. I'm torn on this one. It's clever and nowhere near as dumb as some episodes. I'm looking at you, Omega Man. But also, it's full of random stuff, and I don't think it warrants its high rating. But it's fine. We have a couple of victims in this one. Jacqui Jordan, who blew up either accidentally or maybe it was self-inflicted, who knows? And Anthony Feldman, who was shot by our killer, Vincent Reese, because he stole his wife. So there you have it. That was Miracle in Crooked Lane. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, or come say hi on social media. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, it really does mean a lot, or consider subscribing if you want more videos like this one. Alternatively, feel free to check out my other YouTube channels. Thank you so much for watching, I'll speak to you soon, and keep an eye out for clues.